Good afternoon, colleagues of the 25th Resources and Development Committee. Jag är so flagging legislative services staff, and then also to individuals that is present here in person, and then
Good afternoon, members of Resources and Development Committee. Thank you for being on time. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 1:01 p.m. And just real quickly, I just want to acknowledge my RDC colleagues, legislative services staff, and also to individuals on the call and individuals that are present here in the conference room here at Navajo Department of Transportation. And at this time, Mr. Tommy, could you please take a roll call?
Madam Chair, members of RDC, this is roll call for Resource and Development Committee's regular meeting for Wednesday, January 31st, 2024 at 1 p.m. Roll call, Honorable Brenda Jesus. Honorable Brenda Jesus is present. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson.
Vice Chair Casey Allen Johnson is present.
Honorable Casey Allen Johnson is present. Honorable Shauna Anclaw. Honorable Shauna Anclaw is present. Honorable Ricky Nez. Honorable Danny Simpson.
Here.
Honorable Danny Simpson is present. Honorable Aldo. Madam Chair, you have 4 members present, which constitutes a quorum for this regular meeting. Back to you, Madam Chair.
A question from Mr. Tommy. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and take the lead for invocation here this afternoon. So we just all bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this afternoon from this land of Denebikea, from this land of Teguito, New Mexico, where we are currently situated and having our weekly Resources and Development Committee meetings with the 25th Navajo Nation Council. Lord, I just want to thank you first off for always forgiving us for the wrongs that we say and do, Heavenly Father, as we want to better lead our people here of the Navajo Nation, our chapters, with all the projects and the planning going forward, Heavenly Father. I ask, for your forgiveness, and we also are thankful for your forgiveness that you bestow upon us and continue to bless us with your grace and mercy, and hopes that we live according to your scriptures, Heavenly Father, and carry out the duties of what you would see is in the best interest of our Navajo Nation and our Navajo people. We'd like to thank my colleagues here and colleagues that are still on the way, and also our dedicated team members here from legislative services staff, and also our legal counsel, and also to our great Navajo people across the Navajo Nation. I ask that you bless them, and thank you for the moisture that you have blessed us with, in hopes that it will grow vegetation for our livestock owners and producers out there in the great part of the Navajo Nation, and continue to have us plan for our Navajo people, in hopes that we do fulfill a lot of these projects, especially with the ARPA dollars that was given to Navajo Nation. And again, continue to have us be steadfast and give us the resilience, the strength to carry out these projects, and also the travel that is also tasked with us as delegates of the 25th Navajo Nation Council. I ask that you protect them for me, watch over them, and I asked also for good well-being upon each of my colleagues and our staff here, and to all our people here in the Navajo Nation, so that we can move forward together in hopes that we built out and have a stronger economy here in Navajo Nation. Thank you again. With this, I pray to you in your son's name. Amen. So with that, at this time, members of Resources Development Committee, we have any announcements. Going once, twice. With that, I'd like to go on to item 2 on the proposed agenda here. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and allow members of Resources Development Committee and other honorable colleagues of the 25th Navajo Nation Council to do a quick introduction, starting with Vice Chair Arnold Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for this news. With that beautiful prayer to start us off. Just want to say, good afternoon, everybody out there. Şey, Maliş Biznesine Aşkar'da başışçı, ama Beşiktaş'ın Biznesine. So the very aşağı. I represent the communities of Coal Mine, Salon Lake, Birch Springs, Loop, and Cameron. So those are the 5 communities that I represent. So it's part of, thank everybody for being here. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of RC, Capital staff, yes, good afternoon, DC. Say, Dennis is the student. We have not been a show, work with us, my name is Gordon. The, next, 22, Mr. C. Mr. Such as no, that's chief. Will be 8 chapters last year. Purple and easy, they got the part of simply, not helping issues and say, we have an application. Ja, namens Federalism, Britain Shira, Hanan Zekachi, Bashishin, Zanabi, Chedoki, Maniera, Shinado, Hug chapters, Monash, Nishiki, they hogbacks and one and Hazara, Vernon, and Nicholas. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Doyate. My name is Shauna Inqua. I am the council delegate for Chinle. The next Ligi A. Yakan and the Shiro Twitchi, the Mashini, Tachi, the Shichido, Kian, National, the Sun. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Cash Bajan. And real quickly,
Our
our
legislative services staff.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of RDC, those present, those online. My name is Rodney Tyhan, the legislative advisor for Resource and Development Committee.
Good afternoon, Yaki Anand, so, Singapore again, mission, and Russia's chin, Ashche, Dashi chin, Samaji king, Dashi, another, nothing else, mission, J. Mary and the Crown, that she's done. I work in the office of legislative committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, learn what is represented. I shall not just know. I'm going to change it. She should go. Once more.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and for the committee members, for the planning, and I'm returning to the Office of Legislative Counsel.
Shahan. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and go further down on the proposed agenda here. Number 3, reviewing and approving the agenda. Rodney, can you please read the proposed agenda to the record?
Madam Chair, members of RDC, the proposed agenda reads as follows. Resource and Development Committee, 25th Avenue City Council, regular meeting January 31st, 2004, 1 p.m. Presiding, Honorable Brenda Such, Chairperson, Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, Vice Chairperson, location, Navajo Division of Transportation and VA Telecommunications. 1, coming to order, roll call notification announcements. 2, recognizing guests and visiting officials. 3, reviewing and approving the agenda. 4, reviewing and approving the journal, January 17th, 2024, regular meeting. 5, receiving reports, none. 6, old business. A, legislation number 0221-23, an action relating to Resource and Development Committee, amending resolution RDC AU-32-20, rescinding resolution number RDC D-105-18, and approving the grant of right-of-way and leases into Arcadia Infracom located on Navajo Trust land on Navajo Nation, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico, to rescind the Navajo Nation's consent to the development rights provisions. 7, new business legislation number 0025-24, National Land Resource Development Committee, approving the amendments to the homestead use regulations to 2016. B, approving to attend and participate in the Division of Economic Development's 2-day work session for Thursday, February 15th, and Friday, February 16th, 2024, with the location and time to be determined. C, approving to cancel Resource Development Committee's regular meeting for Wednesday, February 28th, 2024, at 10 a.m. and orders of the committee members intend to participate in the 2024 U.S. Department of Energy Tribal Clean Energy Summit. 8, close the meeting announcements and adjournment. Madam Chair, members of RDC, that is the proposed agenda read to the record.
Can't have Mr. Tanya. So with that, members of Resource and Development Committee, may I get a motion? Vice Chair Johnson, may I get a second?
Second.
Honorable Claude. Members of Resources and Development Committee, do we have any amendments or deletions with the proposed agenda here before us? Going once, twice, okay with that, Mr. Tommy, could you please take roll call vote?
Madam Chair, members of RDC, this is roll call vote for reviewing and approving the agenda. Honorable Shauna Enclaw, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Shauna Enclaw votes green. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Casey Allen Johnson votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez, how do you vote?
Delegate Rick Nez.
Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Danny Simpson votes green. Honorable Otto So, how do you vote? Honorable Otto So, how do you vote? Madam Chair, that's 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Madam Chair not voting.
Thank you, Mr. Tommy. Going on to item number 4, as we have an approved agenda here this afternoon, reviewing and approving journals. We do have January 17th, 2024 regular RDC meeting journals that has been emailed out by legislative services staff. So with that, members of RDC, may I get a motion? Vice Chair Johnson, may I get a second? Second. Honorable Claw. And members of RDC, do we have any questions on the journals that was emailed out? Going once, twice, Rodney, could you please take roll call vote?
Madam Chair, members of RDC, this is roll call vote for reviewing and approving the journal. Honorable Shauna Enclaw, how do you vote?
Vote green.
Honorable Shauna Enclaw votes green. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, how do you vote?
Vice Chair Casey Allen Johnson. Green.
Honorable Casey Allen Johnson votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez, how do you vote?
Delegate Rick Nez votes green.
Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Danny Simpson votes green. Honorable Otto So, how do you vote? Honorable Otto So, how do you vote? Madam Chair, that's 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Madam Chair not voting.
Appreciate that, Mr. Tommy. Going on to item number 5, receiving reports. We have none. Going to item number 6, old business. We do have legislation number 0221-23. Mr. Tommy, if you can please read the legend, but it's time I have to yield the gavel over to Vice Chair Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Right?
Vice Chair Johnson, members of RDC, this legislation 0221-23 was read into the record on October 11th, 2023. And a work session was conducted on Tuesday, December 19th, 2023 at Twin Arrows Navajo Casino Resort Police and Fire Station.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Price. We do have a sponsor here, Madam Chair, Brenda Seuss, she sponsors the legislation 0221-23. It's time for the motion.
Vice Chair Johnson, members of RDC, this legislation was hold on, Vice Chair Johnson, really quick. Vice Chair Johnson, members of RDC, the main motion on legislation number 0221-23 was held by Shauna Enclaw and seconded by Danny Simpson. Directed to sponsor. The sponsor.
Turn it over to, Honorable, Brenda Seuss. Sure.
Thank you. Vice Chair, we need to make a motion to get off the table. I see the committee report as a table. I'm just asking a question. Thank you.
Well, for this, legislated by council.
Member members of the Resources and Development Committee, Ms. Marianne Clark, City Council, if the legislation has been tabled and the record does show it has been tabled, the usual procedure is to move it off the table. Then we receive the
Okay.
You know, at this time, can I get a motion to take this legislation off the table, please?
I'll make a motion. Remove it from the table.
Give me a second. Madam Chair, this is. Any questions on this? Removing the legislation on the table, says once, twice, 3 times.
I had a question.
Simpson?
This question be going to. The language there. Say that greater and greater change on government following policies on that means. Given the language of the government rights, it is unclear what policy reports a third party free and forward and part of one move forward consent of the free.
So, Simpson, you're, can go ahead and move forward with that. Roll call vote on, taking this legislation off the table itself. So let's try.
Vice Chair Johnson, members of RDC, this is roll call vote for taking off 0221-23 legislation off the tabling. Honorable Shauna Inclá, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Shauna Inclá votes green. Honorable Brenda Seuss, how do you vote? Honorable Brenda Seuss votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez, how do you vote? Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you vote? Honorable Danny Simpson votes green. Honorable Otto So, how do you vote? Honorable Otto So, how do you vote? Vice Chair Johnson, that's 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Vice Chair not voting.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tyler. Motion carries. Okay. Going to, back to the, main motion this time. So we're going to give it over to our sponsor. Yeah.
Yes.
So you. Yeah. Let's turn over the sponsor.
Vice Chair. I believe the sponsor already was in. So now we can still ask questions to the sculptor. So I still move forward for question. Responsive.
Yeah, citizens, it was someone to be floor over to, the sponsor. To respond to, citizens' questions.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Johnson, and thank you very much, Delegate Simpson, for the question. So your question was in regard to letter G on page 2 of the legislation, asking about the confusion and showing effect. And that's something that has been articulated by the Alliance for Navigable Broadband, by different telecom providers who have communicated with both the Broadband Office, the Navigation Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the Fiscal Recovery Fund Office, the President's Office, this committee, and then some other institutions of higher education as well, because they're working on projects with them, that they don't have clarity on what the nation believes the exclusive development right is. There's no uniform understanding between the Bureau, Arcadian themselves, and the nation on what that is. And therefore, it is very burdensome, and it is complicated. It's difficult to understand whether any projects they propose have any sort of likelihood of advancing, and what the scheme would be for moving them through, because of the lack of clarity. The only thing that they believe is clear is that there's this language in them, but they don't know what the practical effect is, because no one has come out from the nation or the state. There's a very precarious situation between the states and the nation where they don't want to very loudly and explicitly say, you know, we can't approve projects because of a law that has been enacted, because they want to respect our sovereignty and decisions we've made. But they have to award hundreds, millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, sometimes millions of dollars in projects for broadband expansion. And they have to do so in a way that is accountable to the federal government and is consistent with some of the, or with the best practices in state funded broadband build out. And they can't have direct allocations to one entity predetermined. We need to do some sort of competitive process. And so that's some of the issues that have come up in the vagueness. There's the exclusive development record. There's also issues that are separate from that with the right of way legislation. And that's all been conveyed to the committee, but that's not what we're doing. We want to keep I'm not trying to remove in this legislation the right of way or anything. That's supposed to stay in place, everything is. But in this next year, as we have a window to obtain grant funding from the feds or the states, we need to remove any obstacles or barriers that exist, including vagueness, unclear language, things that will slow down the process in terms of getting approvals and whatnot, in order to build out broadband. So that's what we're attempting to accomplish here. We're not getting rid of anything, just the exclusive development.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Senator, follow? Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll have to go ahead and turn the floor back over, the gavel back over to Madam Chair for the Seuss.
Judge Young, and Vice Chair, and Board Johnson. Sen ba aige shiyash ba dish honorable Aruso David Elzinski for bringing Jawa.
Good afternoon. I think you're aware with that the ARPA office is updated on homeland projects. Also, she don't connect with the shows how far much she knows. Look at the she don't the I mentioned one is the good morning.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Aruso. Ado ella, cuando ella, na de quieto, na she announced the number. Are there any other members of the Resources and Development Committee with questions in regards to legislation 0221-23? Going once, going twice, Honorable Chair Ness.
Thank you, Madam Chair, honorable members of the Resource and Development Committee. Rationale, August later. So we're gonna be by the direction, so as again. We had a meeting there and Mr. Haloma, why you get all of that. All the light of legislation like that, rights away, a land is there. This is what we do, you don't know. We pretty much give them exclusive rights within the rights of way. Another projects in London, he said, they prove it that way all along. So when he said that, he clarified some things for us there. Ele have a discussion over to able to be part of the conscience. So page 3 of 3 findings, but the overstricken language. Acadian will have exclusive rights to copy. Is banana, patal, sorry, Hadalia, potato, hit that house at source. Oh, I'm just case of you know, there's companies that want to do business on the Nile connections. I don't, overchange be Nile. I used to listen to I shall basically, yeah, nothing data on that. But all over the inside. I wrote telecommunications has Anjana. That department has just been very, very inactive. Then I hope that show me some time. And I think it's this, I'm glad that the telecommunications regulations are gonna go forward and be approved by RDC. According by the old bodies to go. There's only in finance, you know. Other stuff, the for national occupation that yeah, and the end of the constitution. I only saw the way that the issue that is, I had the data about this. Yeah.
I wish you could have, our board chairman as other than for, talking about, your recommendation and concerns. Honorable Clough.
If she turns it.
Thank you, Chanela, Honorable Slater, for presenting this legislation. And then I also wanted just to make some comments and coming from the viewpoint of an Arizona caucus delegate. We did meet with Governor and her staff back in Phoenix. And this particular legislation does affect our Arizona broadband initiative, and the reasons were given as to some of the language, the legal language that was enclosed in the legislation. So I do think that this is appropriate to also approve this so that the amendment can happen. And just as was stated, this is not to interfere with the existing contract. It does not dissolve the entirety of it, but we do need for this amendment to happen so that we may be able to accomplish some of the initiatives set forth by our Arizona governor. In addition to that, I just want to make it known that when the telecommunications regulation does go into effect, once it does become a law, then that will also have an effect over the overall telecommunications. So I know that there is discussion as to some leases that are already existing and if those will be grandfathered in, but that will require more discussion from RDC. So at this time, I just want to say that I think that this discussion that happened at Twin Arrows, I was not present. I was also attending to our Arizona Healthcare Cost Containment System, our sober living home in Chinle. So I was not a part of the RDC discussion, but had it been, I would have also expressed my support for this particular legislation. So with that, Vice Chair, I will go ahead and turn the floor back over to you.
So with that, members of RDC in regards to legislation 0221-23. Honorable Simpson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the C staff. I guess this would be going to Department of Justice nomination. I know Ms. Beck is here.
Ms. Blackhat, I shall look with the, if you can take a seat up here because one of the members from RDC wants to pose a question to the Navajo Department of Justice in regards to legislation 0221-23.
I guess it goes back to page 3 of 3, where section 2 findings the restricting language of existing language in the current resolution. So the restricting and we want to take that out of the existing resolution. So it's either Acadian will have exclusive rights to develop Navajo lands to install Navajo lands to install unified often paper components within Navajo that are connected to any facility outside of Navajo. it seems like it's mostly talked about within Arizona, navigation in Arizona. Is this including, navigation within New Mexico and Utah? Because right now, we are going to be part of office on navigation within New Mexico and also within Utah. You know, we will have seen problem we're being told what we're seeing in Arizona on navigation. So is this changing navigation to on New Mexico and Utah?
I would say yes, because I mean, the way it's written, it says Navajo Nation, it didn't limit it to any particular state. So my interpretation would be that, you know, it would apply to all lands within the Navajo Nation, be it Arizona, New Mexico, or Utah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome question. I
Well,
think, Ms. Blackham for, clarifying that. So, let's go say 4 to 5 chapters that represent, the telecommunication provider, the Sequel Wind. So Sequel Wind is going to install fiber optic lines in each chapter. So since Arcadia has the exclusive rights to develop navigation lands to install new fiber, does that stop Sacred Wind from installing fiber optic lines within the navigation? Because the exclusive right is given to Arcadia.
So thank you, Ms. Blackhat.
I want to say yes, but I mean, I'm trying to remember the history in relation to this and. But my understanding was that. I guess it would depend on where they're planning to lay the fiber optics, I guess. So you're saying this would be in New Mexico then? Yeah. But based on the way the legislation reads, I mean, to me, it seemed like it was limited, and based on the work session we had, they identified a specific route. But I mean, I want to say no, but then at the same time, just the way it reads, exclusive rights, so it kind of. Yeah, I don't know. But I think the way we interpreted the last time we talked about this is our initial understanding was that they had exclusive rights within the right of way and not beyond that. And that was the area where Arcadia disagreed with the nation because they were interpreting that to mean that they had exclusive rights for all of Navajo. But we interpreted it to only mean within the right of way that they applied to. So if, you know, they didn't identify the areas within New Mexico, then, you know, we wouldn't think that that would apply. But that was never, I don't think we ever really resolved that issue because we had different interpretations of that exclusive net. And so, like I said, you know, we had initially interpreted exclusive just to mean within the right of way itself and nothing beyond that.
So does that clarify your question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm sorry to see, thank you, Ms. Blackhead, for answering the question here. Just one more, and the reason why I bring this up, Madam Chair, and members of REC, is that, you know, we're pushing for fiber optic throughout the nation. And what we have seen, what we have gone through with this pandemic. And I think we just had a meeting with the Eastern Land Commission last week, reference to in broadband and fiber optic lines and certainties to our Navajo people. And we want to expedite these type of projects for our Navajo people throughout the nation. And if this language is the one that's been, like I said, we're kind of confused on it, but maybe, like I said, we delete it, we kind of clarify everything that, yes, if other fiber optic lines can be installed by other entities, the existing language will not stop it, you know. I mean, the way we did, it would be nice, but the language that's gonna be struck out will help to not stop these part of alternate lines. And so that's my biggest concern, because I'm very passionate to get these part of alternate lines and these broadband to our Navajo people throughout the Navajo Nation. That's why with the Eastern Land Commission, I'm really pushing to make that happen. And with this art money that we have to get these broadband. I know the system needs that because I want to get these broadband and part of alternate lines to our Navajo people. So, the things that we have gone through. And I think sometimes, I always say that getting internet service to our Navajo people is something, a library to our Navajo students to excel in their academics. And if they don't have it, they fall behind. Or they have to travel a certain amount of miles to get internet services. And I'm really an easy person. And I sure like to see, because I was checking over there and see that with a large land base, if we don't get these, like broadband, see that, I know it's not part of offline, but just internet service to our Navajo people. We have people that have to drive 25 miles to the Chapel House to utilize their internet services through hotspot and things like that. So my whole point is, I just don't want any type of language, this language to stop any projects of being part of offline installed in our Navajo communities. And I just want to be sure that we can be service to our Navajo people. So I think to be, by working together, I think this is, like I said, we all make mistakes. We get draft, we get a resolution, a resolution, let's see, a resolution is in place, and we think it's a perfect resolution, legislation. But sometimes we make mistakes where one little word can impact everything, or a paragraph or sentence. So I just want to be sure that we clarify everything, that we work with all the service providers that can install our lines, that help to get that service to our Navajo people, service to our Navajo people. And that's all we're doing. We're work together. So let's work together for all these providers to have the same opportunity to get internet service to our Navajo people through broadband, through part of all lines or something like that. So like I said, I think it's will clarify. The deletion of this language here will give a good opportunity for internet providers, private broadband, something like that to get to our Navajo people. I just want to say, Madam Chair, thank you, and Vice Chair, and members of the RC here.
Honorable Simpson, for that, both Honorable, Otto.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. At the work session, delegates, people were all on the edge of the chair there at the work session there in Twin Arrows. And sort of speaking loud, but I remember a question, not a question, proposed, but a request that I posed was that to allow Acadia and the Navajo Nation and all the parties at Mont to come back together to reform what the current existing resolution really is set to do, or what path it's going to create. We need it to say whether what the state is saying is true, whether the nation is wrong, whether whoever's wrong. I asked the programs to come back together and rehash out and get online to figure out what's really going on in the current policy. But now you kidding it, and at that time, you said, oh yeah, we'll do that. And one is that DNR and Arcadia and telecommunication were supposed to come back together. And I'm just wondering if that occurred. Because Arcadia indicated that it's a simple I guess, a misunderstanding that could come back to the table to really determine what the language means. And, I'm wondering if that had occurred. I'm thinking that within, because, no, if that occurred, we would have had Mr. Colonna here and Mr. Arcadia, we would have representation from Arcadia here today, saying, okay, this is what we came out there. Was a powwow and some kumbaya and we're all singing on one tune now. And they, yeah. So, it doesn't, I mean, it's, yeah, I said. It is right now. I'm ready to vote too, so. Thank you.
Although, December the 19th, and I think we all know, today, Twitter was the Resources and Development Committee. That's the name. And, this was a discussion, although, the informal meeting, oh, you go, Joe, I mean, winter session with us, you know, but not, Shisha, I just wanted to put that out, but. Our NASCO, Joe, even Joe, can I the they can for Ada, she, the Ada, the kid, just she not so so, they not the, able to sponsor names, so the in the she are, so they should have a channel, these not sponsorship, so, I'll go ahead and keep the, members of Resources and Development Committee informed about the date, and I'll go ahead and work with, Rodney, also legal counsel with Navigation Department of Justice as well, so I still have that on my radar, Shiash. So with that, I believe there are no more questions, at this time. I don't know if there's final comments from the sponsor. If not, I would like to go ahead and, request for roll call vote on this legislation, Mr. Taki.
Madam Chair, members of RDC, this is roll call vote for legislation number 0221-23. Honorable Shauna Enclaw, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Shauna Enclaw votes green. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, how do you vote?
Vice Chair Casey Allen Johnson votes green.
Honorable Casey Allen Johnson votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez, how do you vote?
Delegate Rick Meadows votes red.
Honorable Ricky Nez votes red. Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Danny Simpson votes green. Honorable Otto So, how do you vote?
Great.
Honorable Otto So votes red. Madam Chair, that 3 in favor, 2 opposed, and Madam Chair not voting.
Motion, Mr. Taki. So with that,
Is it carried? Motion carried?
okay, with that, motion carries for legislation 0221-23. So, on to item number 7, new business, letter A, legislation 0025-24. Mr. Taki, we do have sponsor, Honorable Vice Chair Johnson here, so, Mr. Taki, could please read the legislation into the record.
Madam Chair, members of RDC, you have legislation summary sheet for tracking number 0220025-24. Date January 25th, 2024, title of resolution, an action relating to Resources and Development Committee approving amendments to the home site lease regulations of 2016. The purpose of this legislation is to approve amendments to the home site lease regulations 2016 for existing home built prior to October 4th to 2016 who are seeking to utilize American Rescue Plan Act funding and other amendments related to specs systems and leach drain fields being built outside the home site lease premises as long as certain requirements are met, including a construction permit from the Navajo Nation Environmental Protection Agency. Resource and Development Committee has final authority over this legislation, as we read into the record in its entirety. The primary sponsor of this legislation is Honorable Casey Allen Johnson for tracking number 25-24. An action relating to Resource and Development Committee approving amendments to the Home Site Lease Regulation 2016. Section 1 authority. A, the Resource and Development Committee and the Navigation Council has authority to prolong rules and regulations governing the use and sales, exchange and development of navigation land and or resources, whether held in fee or trust status, to in see section 501B1. B, the Resource and Development Committee has final authority for all land withdrawals, non-renewal leases, permits, licenses, right-of-way, surface easements, and bond requirements on navigation lands and unrestricted fee lands. This authority shall include subleases, modifications, assignments, leasehold, encumbrance, transfer, renewals, and terminations. To in NC section 501B2A. C, the Resource Development Committee can delegate its final approval authority to the transaction listed in 2 NC section 501B2A to appropriate divisions, government certified chapters, townships, or appropriate entities or for efficiencies and streamlining the government process, provided that the committee at first grant final approval of the rules and regulations governing such delegations and extensions of such delegations. To in NC section 501B3, section 2 finding. A, pursuant to RDC 28-9-93, the Resource Committee of the Navigation Council delegate its authority to approve, issue, amend, assign, relinquish, and execute home site leases to the Navajo Land Department in accordance with procedures adopted by the Resource Committee. B, pursuant to RDCO-74-16, the Resource and Development Committee and the Navigation Council approve amendments to navigation home site lease regulations for the benefit of qualification applicants who are seeking housing assistance and or utility infrastructure assistance through various navigation divisions, enterprises, and state and federal programs, herein referred to as the Home Site Lease Regulations 2016. C, on March 11, 2021, President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, into law. Section 9901 of the ARPA established the Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Office and the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, altogether the Fiscal Recovery Fund, by amending Title 6 of the Social Security Act, which provides $362 billion for state, local, and tribal governments, including $20 billion designated for tribal governments. D, as of April 12, 2022, the United States Department of Treasury has allocated $2,079,461,464 to navigation under the Fiscal Recovery Fund provisions of ARPA. The Fiscal Recovery Funds are designed to build on and expand the relief provided in the 2020 Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, CARES Act, Public Law 116-136, 134 Statute 289, 2020, and are intended to mitigate and contain the spread of COVID-19 as to the response to the health, social, and economic impacts of COVID-19 as suffered by residents and business. E, the Navigation Council has allocated hundreds of millions of ARPA dollars towards basic infrastructure projects, i.e. water, wastewater, home electric connections, broadband, and bathroom additions. See Resolution CJY-41-21 and CJN-29-22F. Pursuant to ARPA, as stated in Resolution CJY-41-21J1, the fiscal recovery funds must be incurred by December 31st, 2024, meaning the navigation must obligate the funds by that date. And 2, the recovery fund period for performance runs until December 31st, 2026, meaning funds projected must be completed by that date. G, there are currently hundreds, if not thousands, of existing homes on the navigation that do not have a valid home site lease. Many of these homeowners are seeking the installations of basic infrastructure that would utilize ARPA funds. This basic infrastructure includes water, wastewater, electricity, broadband, and or bathroom additions. H, as currently drafted, the home site lease regulations do not allow home site lease applicants to move forward with any land disturbance or the commitments of construction activities until the home site lease has been approved. I, the proposed amendments to the home site lease regulation 2016 will allow basic infrastructure projects utilizing ARPA funds to move forward if the homeowner has submitted a home site lease application to the Navajo Land Department with the expectation that the homeowner will follow the requirements of the regulation and eventually obtain an approved home site lease. The proposed amendments also have other requirements that will help speed up the home site lease application and approval process for existing homeowners seeking to utilize ARPA funds for basic infrastructure, will assist at navigation in seeking applicable ARPA deadlines. These in particular proposed amendments to the home site lease regulations 2016 are valid through December 31st, 2026. J, additional, in certain instances, a septic assistance and drainage leach field design requires that it be constructed outside the home site lease premises given the topography of the land, soil conditions, and other factors. The proposed amendments will allow for these types of systems to be built outside of the lease premises as long as the construction permit is obtained from the Appalachian Environmental Protection Agency, along with other applicable requirements, and if there is no interference with any third-party rights to the use of the land, and if the third party provides consent in accordance with applicable laws. This proposed amendment applies to all homes, either existing or construction, is not tied to any particular funding source, and has no expiration date. K, the amendments to the home site lease regulation are attached hereto as exhibit A, L, the executive official review document number 022090 is attached to exhibit B. Section 3, approval, the Resource Development Committee of the Navigation Council hereby approves the amendments to the home site lease regulation 2016, which are attached to exhibit A. Attached to exhibit A, which is the home site lease regulation 2016. Attached to exhibit B, which is executive official review document number 022090. Then you have the first report of the Navigation Legislative Branch and Public Review Summary for legislation number 0025-24, sponsored with Honorable Casey Anna Johnson. This legislation was posted on January 25th, 2024 at 9:56 p.m. The 5-day comment period ended January 30th, 2024. There was no comment supporting this legislation, no comments opposing this legislation, one comment recommendation on this legislation. The comment recommendation on this legislation comes from C. John, which was sent via email. Madam Chair, members of RDC, that is the legislation 0025-24 read into the record.
Yeah, Mr. Tommy, so with that, members of Resources Development Committee, may I get a motion? Honorable Claude, may I get a second? Second.
Thank you.
Honorable Aruso, thank you, colleagues. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and yield the floor over to, sponsor Honorable Vice Chair Johnson, and I believe he has, his agent, Mr. Byron Tsui, with, Navajo Nation Land Department as the department manager, in regards to expounding on this legislation, members of RDC. So, so at this time, I'd like to go ahead and yield the floor over to Honorable, Vice Chair Johnson, just to expound on it, if you want to go ahead and, have Mr. Tsui just talk about it some too, so that, colleagues all have an understanding. I think this was a discussion in July of last year as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable RDC colleagues, for the Technology Council, as well as the Legislative Council, and legislative staff, and all those in attendance here. Thank you for being here with us today. And at this time, I'd like to go ahead and give the floor over to our manager here, Mr. Tsui, so we can expound on the some of the details on this. Madam Chair.
Mr. Mitsui.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, for being the sponsor for this legislation. 0025-24, as well as the director of the RDC Council and legislative. Thank you, and everybody here and everybody online. Just an update. I know we've been dealing with this for almost a year now, and what we have here now is we added on to the home site lease regulations, 2016. We did consider to change it to 2024, but we looked towards legal counsel, and they recommended we keep it at 2016 with a revised date on the front page of the home site lease regulations, which went through several reviews with DNR, NLD, DOJ, and PVP. But just to get it going, we added on section 9 to the home site lease regulations. This is all in regards to all the ARPA funds that need to be spent with entities and to help the people. Section 9, it states the title is homes existing prior to the Aqua report 2016, which will have infrastructure funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. Part of this, a lot of this was built on a flow chart that we had devised for the options 1 and 2. One was through NCUA, which we're thankful for that. And the other is through Navajo Nation, Navajo Land Department. The whole reasoning behind this is just to expedite everything for all of the projects that are just waiting on it. So, I don't know if you guys want me to read each section for this section 9. If so, I can go ahead and do it. It's not very long, so I can go ahead and start with section 9.01. These regulations apply to any home built on the Navajo Nation prior to October 4th, 2016 that currently does not have a valid home site lease. Where the homeowner desires installation of basic infrastructure which will be funded in whole or in part by the American Rescue Plan Act. Fiscal Recovery Fund, herein referred to as ARPA projects. Except for any provision of the regulation that conflicts with this section 9. ARPA projects include, but shall not be limited to vacuum addition, water, wastewater, electricity, and broadband. 9.02, notwithstanding section 18.08A of these regulations, an ARPA project is authorized to proceed if the homeowner has submitted a home site lease application through the NLD. The application fee has been paid unless the fee has been waived in accordance with section 9.03. And assuming the ARPA project complies with all applicable federal and Navajo laws, a complete and/or approved home site lease application is not required for an ARPA project to proceed. But it is assumed that the homeowner will comply with the requirements of these regulations so that a home site lease will eventually be granted. 9.03, the NLD shall have the discretion to waive any fees or receipt requirements contained in section 8.01A of these regulations. This waiver does not apply to any compensation owed pursuant to the 16 NNC for section 1401-1403. 9.04, global positioning system, GPS, and land survey plat requirements. Notwithstanding the requirements of section 8.01B and E of these regulations, the following requirements apply to leases issued under this section 9.00. A, GPS requirements. The NLD should physically verify and acknowledge the home site lease location utilizing a handheld GPS unit by reading the latitude, longitude coordinates in North American data 1983. NAD 83, identifying the existing residence as the center point of the home site lease location and shall write the coordinates onto the home site lease application. The latitude, longitude coordinates for the four corners of the home site lease shall also be recorded, along with the township range section, quarter section, principal meridian, chapter, county, and state. In the alternative, the NLD can request the grazing official or land board official to verify the GPS coordinates in accordance with this section 9.04A. B, land survey plat. Certified land surveys should be conducted by the NLD. Private land surveyors or other third parties, example, the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority, must obtain permission from survey from NLD. Certified land survey plat must contain a United States survey, USGS, quadrangle topographic map, or an aerial map, the location of the land survey, and may have the latitude and longitude of the survey type point and point of PTA and DOB. They must have all the latitude and longitude corners located on the survey plat. The survey plat shall be drawn on a legal size 8.5-inch by 14-inch document with all pertinent information of the location, for example, township range section, quarter section, principal meridian, chapter, county, and state. All corrections of land surveys should be completed by the NLD. One subsection that would be resurveys under A. Certain circumstances may occur that require the NLD to resurvey These include, but are not limited to shifting the home site location and re-identifying the corners. The NLD may resurvey only if the NLD conducted their original certified land survey plat. If the survey that needs to be redone was conducted by a private land surveyor, that surveyor or another private surveyor must review the survey. 9.05, any documentation prepared for an ARPA project, example, archaeological clearance, biological resources clearance, land survey can be utilized to satisfy the home site lease application requirements of section 8.01. And this section 9.00 of the regulation, either the homeowner or any associated third party, example, the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority may submit such documentation with NLD, and documentation will be inserted into the home site lease application packet. 9.06, consistent with 16 NNC subsection 2382 of the General Leasing Regulations of 2013 and section 10.03 of these regulations, the NLD and any applicable Navajo Nation department or program can issue programmatic agreements or other documentation, serve as a CADIC or FOSI in order to satisfy environmental review requirements related to a home site lease. The home site lease regulations exhibits approved via resolution RDCO-74-16 may be amended by the NLD or any applicable Navajo Nation department or program to incorporate the requirements of the section 9.00. 9.08, this section 9.00 is only valid through December 31st, 2026. So that's the additional section that was added for the home site lease regulation for the ARPA projects. And there's also an amendment to section 18, I believe it was 18.01, which was before 17.01. And that's where the under A within sanitation. It states here septic system, there's a septic system and leach / drainage field may be situated outside the lease premises in instances where it is necessary for the design of the septic system and leach drain field. As long as the sanitation permit is obtained from the Navajo Nation Environmental Protection Agency, along with any other necessary permits. And it does not interfere with the rights of any third party to use the addition of the curb, or if the third party consents in accordance with applicable law. So that's the additional for the sanitation.
Does that complete your report? Okay, Vice Chair Johnson, sponsoring this legislation. And thank you to Mr. Tsui, and I'd also like to give kudos to our legal team here, Ms. Quinn and Ms. Khan, and then also to Navajo Nation Department of Justice. So with that, members of Resources Development Committee, I believe we've long waited for this for ARPA projects. We're finally here. It's very awesome feeling to know that RDC has accomplished a task that's been very members of RDC. Going once, going twice. So with that, again, thank you. So we're going to go ahead and go straight to roll call vote. So Mr. Tani?
Madam Chair, members of RDC, this is roll call vote for legislation number 0025-24. Honorable Shauna Inclaw, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Shauna Inclaw votes green. Honorable Casey Ellen Johnson, how do you vote?
Vice Chair Casey Allen Johnson votes green.
Honorable Casey Ellen Johnson votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez, how do you vote? Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you vote? Honorable Danny Simpson votes green. Honorable Otto, how do you vote? Honorable Otto, how do you vote? Honorable Otto votes green. Madam Chair, that's 5 in favor, 0 opposed, and Madam Chair not voting.
Yeah, Mr. Tani for that. So motion carries. And again, give yourselves a hand, everyone. To be fun. Honorable Vice Chair Johnson for pushing this, and thank you for everyone that was involved. So yeah, so now we get to get these ARPA project applications going. So going on to number 7, letter B. Approving to attend and participate in the division of economic development three-day work session for Thursday, February fifteenth and Friday, February sixteenth, 2024, and then the location and time to be determined. So, Shanatani Dishiba Abedolson, this work session, Division of Economic Development is also, have been awarded some money for ARPA projects. There's questions on the 5-year plan that Division of Economic Development is supposed to bring back, give RDC update on the ARPA projects. And also, Division of Economic Development has so many projects that, were awarded under the Permit Trust Fund along with the sales tax. So, again, this will be, tentatively, we will be in, discussion alongside, Budget and Finance Committee, as they're the ones that have oversight over the dollar amounts and see which projects can happen. So with the location, those time, we should so with that, may I get a Vice Chair Johnson and second by Honorable Claude. Any questions? Going once, going twice. Rodney, can you please take roll call vote?
Madam Chair, members of RDC, this is roll call vote for new business item B. Honorable Shawna and Claude, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Shawna and Claude votes green. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, how do you vote?
Vice Chair Casey Allen Johnson votes green.
Honorable Casey Allen Johnson votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez, how do you vote?
Honorable Chair Nez, how do you vote?
Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you, Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you vote? Honorable Danny Simpson votes green. Honorable Otto, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Otto votes green. Madam Chair, that's 5 in favor, 0 opposed, and Madam Chair not voting.
Thank you, Mr. Tony. Motion carries on to 7, letter C, approving to cancel the Resources Development Committee regular meeting for Wednesday, February the 28th, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m. in order for committee members to attend and participate in the 2024 U.S. Department of Energy Tribal Clean Energy Summit. We know that as Resources and Development Committee, we have oversight over Division of Natural Resources. I know there is lots of discussion regarding revenue generation and even renewable energy here on Navajo Nation. So with that, there are going to be a lot of other tribal communities at this particular summit, and as Resources and Development Committee representing the Navajo Nation, I just thought as chair of RDC to have colleagues attend this in firsthand, and what a lot of our other tribal communities in Indian country are doing with renewable energy. So, so with that, may I get a motion? Vice Chair Johnson, may I get a second?
Second.
Honorable Claude, do we have any questions on this, members of Resources and Development Committee? Going once, going twice. Rodney, could you please take roll call vote on item C?
Madam Chair, members of RDC, this is roll call vote for items 7C. Honorable Shawna and Claude, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Shawna and Claude votes green. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, how do you vote?
Vice Chair Casey Allen Johnson votes green.
Honorable Casey Allen Johnson votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez, how do you vote? Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you vote? Honorable Danny Simpson votes green. Honorable Otto, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Otto votes green. Madam Chair, that's 5 in favor, 0 opposed, and Madam Chair not voting.
So with that, I'd like to go on to item number 8, close of meeting. Do we have announcements? Honorable Simpson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of RDC, and staff. Ben Administration is still here. Madam Chair, can you on Byron, please? Administration, can you be Byron?
Okay, Mr. Mitsui, go out.
Mr. Mitsui, you are the new legal.
Madam Chair, we just passed 0025-24, and, you know, it goes back to our community member, our constituents, and, it goes back to them reading this, legislation, and, you know, grandma and grandpa, and probably won't understand what we're talking about here. It's passed, I know, as delegate, we conveyed our information back to the constituents, but, I'd like to ask the land department to simplify this. To simplify to where we get that information to our chapters. And, I just want to say, to summarize something that, how this is gonna work for homes, a house or for, existing homes on electricity that don't have most of these. So I want to simplify language and give it chapters so people understand how it's gonna work. Madam Chair, I think that we owe that to our community members, so they can get their basic infrastructure. So the simplified language so they can fully understand. Madam Chair, members of the RC County.
Shiaj, Honorable Simpson, so you want, that, clarification right now, or?
Point of order,
They can,
point of order. Now, we already passed the resolution. And, that should have been a question during, when Madam Chair, asked to appear with the questions of the resolution. I'm just trying to speed things, that's all. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning. And I drove into Winter Rock at a 7 o'clock meeting this morning. And, so I'm just trying to speed up the process, and finish up the meeting. Thank you. How are we?
Shiaj, so Honorable Simpson,
Madam Chair,
Shiaj. Okay.
I think to me, as a member of RC, I try to make every effort to be on time, and I try to make every stay throughout the whole meeting. And I respect my colleagues sometimes where they come in late, and I respect it because I know they have obligations they have to attend to. All I'm asking is that we can create this information to our community members in a simple fashion. That's all I'm asking from the administration, so they fully understand. Thank you.
Honorable, Simpson, so with that, just, going forward, Mr. Mitsui, in the area of, communicating this information, conveying this information to our elder population, Honorable Simpson had mentioned. I believe that, it is charged with an obligation land department to start disseminating that information so that our Chays and our Mustangs, our uneducated population here on Navajo Nation will be able to understand and who is going to be qualified for the streamlined ARPA process. So if you can just recognize Ashonda, Mr. Mitsui, and possibly just give us a report back via email on this Ashonda to RDC and Mr. Toppy, okay? Let me give this to, Shanai, Chair Nez, and now give it back to Honorable Officer.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for response on tonight. I understand that we did pass this legislation, and I was reading through it, and I caught something that caught my eye, and I went over in the back and talked to Mr. Tsui. Well, the Indian away abandonment gate. Now, we approved this all just today, just now. Revert back to the Navajo Nation. Now, I thought about local chapters, big large chapters, the IFTB guy. I think there needs to be another legislation to amend some of it again at some point, because I would rather not it revert back to the Navajo Nation, but back to the Navajo Nation local chapters. They can decide and make recommendations as to who abandoned their home site leases, rather than the Navajo Nation giving it to someone on the western side, coming out to San Juan chapter and saying, I want a home site lease right there. I just don't want Casey asking for a home site lease next to me. But you know what I'm saying? It's just, pay that cost chapter, yeah, so just thought I'd bring that up. Thank you.
Honorable Chair Nez, but not Dave Kidney. So there's supposed to be a comprehensive, amendments to this whole site leasing regulations at a later time. So ACA young fighting people, so, and as a department manager, thinks they're on Chair Nez, I'm going to share that with you. So Honorable Ottoson.
I just wanted to address the comment earlier, coming in late. My coming in late was legit. I met with, Glad office at while they were eating lunch. Had a conversation, came to a project, came to there to the city. Also next door at Curly Valley. We had an issue with me coming in late, get it on paper. Other than that, I made the meeting, I'm here. But you can tell who is really, I guess, that we're punching. I want to get into is that, in the council rules, I represent my constituency. Whether you pull me out, I am still acting on behalf of my constituency. And at this time, me coming in late is pertaining to a project that Etty is working on there at Glad. And you saw me there at Subway talking with two ladies from Glad office. So, can I say, I don't care about you. Oh, okay. Okay, it can be. So, like, put it now. So, I've been up since 3 o'clock and I'm ready to go home now. Motion to adjourn.
Wait, I still have my.
I wanted to do an announcement, so negotiate drova meeting the month on the meeting. They like to cake it now. Which is eat on the I'll be on meeting, so it should probably be all drova. So real quickly, the cemetery burial regulations, legislation will be dropped today by Honorable Vice Chair Johnson and no success, so right now should be about Honorable Clark.
Thank you. We are officially on announcements and I just wanted to share with everyone that our team with the water rights negotiation team will be conducting a public education meeting this week. They will be in Chinle on Friday, February 2nd. This will take place at the Chinle Chapter House from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. The team will then move over to Pinyon Chapter from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. And for those that are listening online, we encourage you to come out and listen to the public education. This is very important information that is being shared by Madam AG and then also the water rights unit, attorneys, and then water resources department. They will be, and then also the commissioner, they will be there to share information
acknowledge his
on the
screen?
importance of how the water infrastructure will be affected, also the funding mechanisms. And so we can go ahead and just share that. We do have a website with the Navajo Nation Water Rights Commission. They do have a schedule. And these public education meetings are being held every Monday and Friday. So they will be out there the entirety of the month, and we just want our community to participate and also to hear what new advances will be made affecting our water. So with that, I'll turn it back over. Thank you.
Negotiating fashion, there's an honorable clause for the mention of water rights. And just for listeners on the call and individuals present here, we're having our special RDC meeting Monday, February 5th, 10 a.m. and it will be here at INDOT location. So with that, if no more announcements, I'd like to call for adjournment. And may I get a motion?
Madam
Vice
Chair,
Chair Johnson?
so
Okay. Honorable the Vice Chair Johnson would be second motion. And any other questions? If not, Mr. Tanya, could you please take roll call vote for adjournment?
Madam Chair, members of RDC, this is roll call vote for adjournment. Honorable Sean N. Claw, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Sean N. Claw votes green. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, how do you vote? Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, how do you vote?
Vice Chair Casey Allen Johnson votes green.
Honorable Casey Allen Johnson votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez, how do you vote? Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Danny Simpson, how do you vote? Honorable Danny Simpson votes green. Honorable Otto, how do you vote? Honorable Otto, how do you vote? Madam Chair, that's 4 in favor, 0 opposed, the Madam Chair not voting.
Okay, so with that, we adjourn at 2:19 p.m. And I'll do it here in addition again. I just want to commend the team for passing the, streamlined home site lease process for ARPA projects. And then also, my colleague, Honorable Vice Chair Johnson, dropping the burial regulations, for the Navajo Nation as well to guide the chapters. I just, ask that, the creator protect each of